What's up, y'all? It's your girl Cornelia back with another episode of Black News, a podcast where we break down current events, hot topics, and local stories involving Black people. Now let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Hello, Black News listeners. We back in the building. We back in the building. Hope you all had a great week last week. Great weekend. It is officially summertime. I don't know where you are, but it's starting to get hotter than a mug, which I love. I love the hot weather. So, hope you guys are doing well. A quick update from me, well in advance, because y'all know I be forgetting. I will likely be off for possibly 2 weeks in September, probably around the top of September. TBD on if that is actually going to happen. It is likely that it will, and it won't be 1 week off. It'll probably be two. Not doing anything fun, just some personal reasons, some stuff that I need to take care of. So I'm telling y'all now and easing into it in case I forget, and y'all be like, "Girl, what the hell?" Because y'all know I just be forgetting. So giving y'all that heads up now. With that in mind, I don't think, and y'all know I be saying this, and I'll be lying. I don't think this week's episode is going to be long at all. Not to say that any of them are long, because I try to keep them as short as I can. But there aren't many things to cover. And y'all know I be rambling. So I think I can get in and out of these fairly decently. So it should be short and sweet today. And with that, we're going to kick it off with a quick discussion about election rigging. Oh, y'all. And I'm quickly mentioning this because I was extremely frustrated and aggravated this past week. So apparently y'all's president did a speech. The impression and what people assume and think is that he did this speech to set the groundwork to try to either rig or stop or invalidate the election that is coming up in a few months this year in 2026, right? We already laying the groundwork so he can say that the election results are invalid. There was some funny business going on. We cannot certify the election in certain states. They're already trying to do it, and we told y'all this was going to happen. Okay, right. But he did a speech talking about this, laying the groundwork. And y'all know I did not watch the speech, the full speech, because I'm not going to do that. But within that, in talking, immediately once it wrapped up, social media blew up with people saying, "Oh, wow." Because what he essentially said was that the 2020 election was interfered with. And that is the election that he lost against Joe Biden. Immediately people were like, "Oh, shoot. This means that you probably and likely tried to rig 2016 and 2024 as well as 2020." And that set off a frenzy of people trying to pick up the pieces, put two and two together, do all of this stuff, start really looking into it. People digging up old data and the numbers, talking about why the DNC didn't call for an investigation. Why didn't Kamala speak up? Why did she secede so fast? What is all this? What are we doing now? Do they have attorneys and lawyers? What does this mean come November this year? Are there any measures put in place to stop this? All of this stuff. And it really pissed me off. Okay. It pissed me off. And I posted this on social media, and this is what, and it's joking, but it's also serious. Because where were y'all? And not the Black News listeners, because we went through this. We went through this together. But I posted, "This election fraud talk is so aggravating because," and I put all caps, "where were y'all when we all woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning on November 5th and told y'all something shady happened?" We all woke up at 4 o'clock. When we were out here talking about something happened, we all woke up at the same time or around the same time within an hour time frame. We all got up, jolted out of our sleep, Where were y'all? Where were you? Cause I ain't hear nobody. I ain't hear nobody but black women, and with some white women up in there too, talking about, hey man, I was jolted about of slumber. Okay, where were y'all? Now, with that said, and we're gonna do some conspiracy theory talk real quick. I'm about to put the tinfoil hat on. Okay, put it on. This is what I think happened. I think, along with that car company man, and I'm not gonna say his name because y'all know I'll be flagged. I told y'all it's a conspiracy out here. They be flagging me. The car company man, y'all know, the one who was responsible for going into the federal government immediately after the election looking for air quote fraud, came up with nothing, didn't spend waste no didn't save no money, fired all the black people, but then had an opportunity to scrub any data that they probably needed to scrub. I'm just gonna throw that out there. This is what I think. I think it was successfully, the election was successfully messed with in 2016. Cause y'all remember Hillary won the popular vote. It was some funny going on with that. I think Hillary won. And again, with tenfold, I'm saying tenfold so it can make y'all feel better. I actually am really thinking this. I think 2020, he tried and lost. And the reason why he is so set on mail-in ballots, because all the conversation has been stopping mail-in ballots, and we not going to send out federal ballots to states if they don't give us their voter rolls. Mail-in ballots are corrupt. Mail-in ballot, all of this stuff. I think he did the same thing, but didn't account for how many people would actually do the mail-in ballot option because we were still in COVID. And you can't rig mail-in ballots. You can rig machines and counts that way, but they didn't account for all of those mail-in ballots. Also think that that's why he keeps saying Joe Biden rigged it, because he was like, dang, you outrigged me. I think he really think he got outrigged. Then in 2024, we literally had, after the election, grassroots organizations pulling the data, running the numbers, and showing how some of the counts in specific counties pointed to something inconsistent and shady happening, where the numbers were off, the data don't make sense. And also on a high level, you literally had counties or states or elections in people's districts where it went blue down ballot, and at the top of the ballot it didn't. That doesn't make sense, especially when some of those down ballot candidates were also women. Because we can't be like, well, she was a woman. It was they didn't want to vote for a woman. Sure, but they also voted for the born woman. No, riding off her campaign speeches and campaign momentum. She won, but the one at the top didn't. They voted for the one at the bottom at the top. That doesn't make sense. So all of this has started to recirculate. People are also saying, well, why didn't Kamala Harris look into it? I'm willing to bet, and I've been sitting with this and trying to remind myself of this, especially, and I've always thought this, but on the heels of the Obama's press run that they did for the Obama Presidential Center, something kept coming up for me that I was noticing. Y'all notice when ever people ask President Obama about if he could run again, would he run again? And he used to just outright say it, like, Michelle ain't going for that. Michelle would leave me if I did this. And he insinuates that he wouldn't even be able to if he want to keep his family intact. Michelle is against it. And on the surface, you can think, yeah, it was very taxing for their family. Racism, bigotry, they probably had death threats. But we got to remember, these people held the highest office in this country. They know more than we do behind the scenes, and they know shit that we probably will never be privy to, and that would likely be dangerous or detriment to our faith in whatever we have faith in if we knew that. Something tells me for that particular question that It ain't just about, Michelle and the family. It's I think something probably really happened really bad that has her being like, you better not think about doing this again. Something bad had to like be a threat or something. The same could be said with Kamala Harris in this. I honestly think she had to have some intel and she had to be a part of a conversation that made her lean into not publicly challenging this. And on the surface, it probably seems very simple for her to be like, let's ask for a recount. Y'all, I bet they went through all of the scenarios, especially dealing with somebody like that Red Hat man, especially after they were on social media on interviews talking about you ain't gonna have to vote again. And if they found out what I did, I'm gonna be in jail. All of this stuff, guys, they see it, they know this. They had access to the CIA and FBI before this new regime. I'm willing to bet they've had the conversations, but for whatever reason, they couldn't do it. And I bet that reason is clear from their perspective. Now, is it right? No. Am I assuming? Yes. Could that not be the case? Absolutely. But could it also be the case? Possibly. I just think you got to remember there's a level of being on the inside that we just ain't privy to that I think could be behind why we still on the sidelines talking about shoulda, coulda, woulda, and did this happen and nobody did anything. Again, I know that's oversimplified and maybe that's not the case, but that's just what I'm assuming. Now, with that said, hey, I don't mean to be the Debbie Downer, but I think we cooked for November. There is no apparatus in place to be able to protect this. State by state, sure, maybe. But even if you push people to say, okay, forget mail-in ballot, we're going to make sure everybody get to vote in person. We saw what happened in Texas with Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett was gerrymandered up out of here, and there was voter suppression in real time. We literally saw reports in real time of what was happening in Texas, where people were told they would go to a specific polling place. When they got there, there was no record of them being at that polling place, and the place that they were air quotes supposed to be at was on the other side of town where they wouldn't be able to even get to before the polls closed. We saw it. So I'm just gonna stay vigilant and do my part. I think California, our voting apparatus is so thorough, and we got our own issues, child. We got half the state red hat and half the state not. So we in a battle for it as well. So while there's national issues, there's also local issues that we got to sort out and keep our eye on. But overall, where were y'all on November 5th when we told y'all we were jolted out of our sleep at 4 a.m. something shady happened? And that also go to, I got a long-standing vendetta against the TikTok astrologers and the TikTok tarot card readers, because leading up to it, they said that she was going to win, which also, though, simultaneously tells me she probably did. But as a TikTok astrologer, okay, the tarot card reader, you probably can't predict rigging. So that she probably actually did win because the TikTok astrologer said that she did. Y'all, I'm just saying. Keep me lifted in prayer. What y'all think? Okay. Were y'all a part of these conversations that happened? Do y'all think this is what went down, or do y'all have your own theory? Give me the theory. Let me know. You can find me at Canelia on social media. Next, I want to just circle back with an update regarding the Nolan Wells case. Right, this is the case that we as a people, been talking about for now. It feels like 2 or 3 weeks. This is the case where the young Nolan Wells was found unalive, body washed ashore on Horn Island off the coast of Mississippi. He allegedly went out there on a boat with his friends. The friends came back. Apparently, allegedly said that Nolan want to stay on the island. All of this is allegedly because we don't know nothing. They didn't call the family until late night and say, "Hey, you seen Nolan?" They tracked the phone. The kids still had the phone. They went over the house. Didn't their kids didn't want to give up the phone? Took them 15 minutes to come get the phone. They had the Nolan's car keys. They didn't want to give him the car keys. They finally gave him the keys. Didn't make a statement. Immediately shut down their social media. Judge Mama made a press release. That case around Nolan Wells. Well, some updates. As we know, Attorney Ben Crump is taking the lead on publicizing this case, leading the efforts to figure out what happened. And some people been complaining like, well, why Ben Crump? Why is he? It's a media attention, and he's y'all. If Ben Crump or the equivalent to Ben Crump don't get in front of the media with these cases, y'all wouldn't have knew nothing about it. Like, why is that so hard for you to understand? People think it's like media attention. For this, yeah, we need media attention. If not, you would not have heard about it. Shut it up. Okay. So we have that. Reverend Al Sharpton has now also come on board as a social and public advocate for this case. He, again, has been very vocal and supportive of the family. While that happens, you have people behind the scenes supporting. We know Colin Kaepernick has paid for the independent autopsy that was taking place. The update going along with that is Benjamin Crump's law firm said they will have the autopsy results tomorrow, the day after I'm recording this podcast, which is they'll have it on Wednesday. So we have Colin Kaepernick doing that. Tyler Perry said he was paying for the funeral. He paid for the funeral of Nolan Wells, which happened this week that I'm recording this podcast. Very sad ordeal. I watched some of it online. I had to turn it off because I was crying. While this is a major news story, that's somebody's baby. These people lost their child. These siblings lost their brother and don't nobody know what happened. Can you imagine? Like, you lost your child and don't nobody want to talk. Don't nobody know nothing. Don't nobody got no firsthand accounts. The kids who was with them ain't saying nothing. Ain't even came by to check on me. Ain't gave me no information. The police department, the investigators ain't said nothing for weeks. We had to take this to the media in order for them to take it now to the grand jury. And who says that the grand jury ain't gonna be on some shady stuff? And you still, with all of that, gotta bury your son. I can't imagine. While people sending you evil messages on social media, y'all, did y'all see on social media that Nolan Wells' mother posted a picture of her crying, where somebody mailed her the picture of her crying on TV over her son and left a nasty note? Who are these people? This woman lost her son. So we have that. We also, I heard like, rumors that Cat Williams also was contributing. I don't know if that's true, but I do know, again, there are many people that are supporting publicly and quietly behind the scenes. We also, one of the updates is that Reverend Al Sharpton contributed $50,000 in the form of a reward to anybody who can help give information that will solve this case. While he made that announcement, he received a text from Tyler Perry, who said he will match the $50,000 to help solve this case. So now there's a combined total of $100,000 available that will be given to whoever can come forward and help provide evidence to solve this case. So we are moving in regards to trying to do whatever anyone can with this. But it's still, and shout out to also Don Lemon. Don Lemon been on this from the beginning. I usually, I stopped watching. I used to, before this past election cycle, the way they handled Kamala Harris and they did the whole Joe Biden thing. I used to check in the morning with like the MSNBC and CNN. Like will send out like a morning article with like news highlights. I used to read that, and I used to really quick check in and listen to some like news segments in the morning. I got them up out of here because I just. Mm-mm. And so now in the mornings, I will because when I'm getting ready for work, I'll cut on Don Lemon will go live, right? And I like this format because he don't just talk about like politics. He'll talk about like current events and things what's going on. And it's just a good snapshot of what's been happening, right? It'd be fun segments and like special guests. He has some guests on there that I like Monique Presley and you know and things like that. So I'll tune in. But he been on this Nolan Wells case from day one, okay? Which has helped increase visibility because again, I'm telling you, if social media wouldn't have jumped on this would have been another one of those cases that we've seen where those 50 black people have died and everybody just haven't been informed about it and there's no news story, no investigations, no nothing. So shout out to him. But with that again, all of this still just doesn't add up. Yeah, I even seen a clip today of Judge Joe Mathis jumping in and talking about this. This something ain't right. All of this is shady because it just sounds all around suspect. Now, let's say that Nolan Wells did drown. That is extremely unfortunate. But if that is what happened, people just want to know the truth. His mama and daddy need to know what happened to this boy. But when you put it all together, it just don't sound good. Allegedly, he went on the Horn Island with his homeboys. He told them he wanted to stay and talk to a girl and that he'll find another ride back. But don't nobody know who he said he was gonna ride back with. Don't nobody know if that actually happened. The girl that he allegedly went to talk to said he talked to me for a minute, but then he went away. He left. I wasn't talking to him like for that long. Then when he allegedly told his friends he'll stay, he left his phone on the boat and his keys. So he stayed on the island, didn't need his phone or his keys. So how was he going to get back? How was he going to call anybody when he got back? How was he going to try to meet up with y'all to get his keys when he got back? And how was he going to get to his car when he got back? A teenager left their phone on the boat. Then the kids didn't think, oh, maybe we should call and his mama and be like, we left Nolan on the island, but we got his phone. If you hear from him, let him know we got his phone. Nobody did nothing. Then when they tried to go get the phone and the keys, it was it felt a little shady. Then when this kind of blew up, all of the friends immediately shut all of their social media down. They family shut the social media down. They allegedly got attorneys and nobody said nothing. Then the police department didn't wasn't actively communicating with the family. Then when Nolan's body washed up on shore, after it was a whole night that passed because the father and the family couldn't get out there because he didn't know nobody with no boat. So he couldn't even go out late at night and search for his baby. They had to wait till the morning. Didn't see him. And then when he finally washed up, somebody from the police department or the Cajun Navy, I'm not sure which department it was, immediately was like, oh, he drowned. How you know? How do you know? No investigate. No, oh, he drowned. Then we have all of this. Nobody's still talking. Nobody knows what happened. And if it wasn't blasted on social media, nobody would knew this even took place. Then you have an autopsy. It was sent off by the family to get an independent autopsy because we don't necessarily trust what is going on in that state. But the family's independent autopsy is going to release the results before the actual Mississippi officials going to release their autopsy. Why we get ours done before yours? You waiting to figure out what you should say with the autopsy? It just all is just shady business, right? It just doesn't feel right based on historical fact, pattern recognition, all of these things. Something just don't feel right. Now, with that in mind, another thing that happened on social media is child Nancy Grace done got a hold of the case. Child Nancy Grace. Y'all know Nancy Grace. Nancy Grace is the OG, one of the OG true crime investigative reporter TV show headline news personalities. I'm talking about blonde bob, teased up top, hairspray down. Been at this for 20, 30 years. Nancy Grace been at it. Nancy Grace was the one who was always on Casey Anthony neck. She ain't let up off Casey Anthony. Ju- if if anybody got a hater out here, is Casey Anthony, and that hater is Nancy Grace. Nancy Grace was on that Natalie Holloway case, wasn't letting up. If it's gonna be somebody missing or somebody harmed or hurt, Nancy Grace is on it. Child, I saw a clip and it went viral. Everybody saw it. Nancy Grace, bombshell, disappear. Like she is on it, and people were like, "Well, the case about to be solved now." Like, not to make light of that, but it's people are making light of the fact that Nancy gonna stay when she lock in on something. She gonna stay locked in for years. If this case take years to solve, guess what? Guess what? Who gonna be on it? Nancy Grace. Not to discount all of the work that all of the Black journalists are doing and will continue to do. And this is what people were complaining about. They were like, "Why all of a sudden Nancy Grace and everybody think relieved or think she's gonna be like some savior?" I don't think that's what people are saying at all. Right? I don't think that's what people are saying. From my perspective, I look at it like this. There is an entire demographic of people who I'm willing to bet know nothing about what happened to Nolan Wells. A lot of people don't care. A lot of people don't have that algorithm. Their worlds do not consist on things that have affected Black people, Black children, Black young men, Black women. It doesn't. Nancy Grace has a built in audience that she has built over decades that consists of a demographic that I am going to assume is that same demographic that does not know about this or has not paid attention. So Nancy Grace, somebody like Nancy Grace, picking up this story and also starting to talk about it, what it does, it opens up the door to more eyeballs on this and more public scrutiny, because the more public scrutiny that happens and the more conversation that takes place, the more pressure it puts on officials down in that state to attempt to try to do something to solve this. Because one thing that people can't do, you can't hide from everybody. And if you try, it's only going to be so long that you're going to be able to do that. So I had to look at it as she introducing this case to another demographic that I bet you didn't know nothing about it. Because just because we know something don't mean everybody else know. And again, she gonna cuss somebody out. Somebody getting cussed out. Look what she did to Casey. But with that said, I'm locked in and I'm staying tuned. Okay. The autopsy results come out this week. I'm very interested to hear what they say. And look, if it was just like a drowning, okay. But we need the full investigation. And we need people to come forward to say, well, what happened? So I'm locked in. I'm gonna have more updates as they come in. But let me know your thoughts about this. Okay. Have you heard something? Are you tuned in? Or have you just not really had the strength or the desire to really follow along with this? Because it's a lot, right? Let me know. Let me know. You can find me at Cornelia on social media. And lastly, I want to just quickly touch on some discourse that has been happening on social media. Not a major conversation, but it's interesting. It's involving Insecure, the show, Issa Rae's show, and a conversation or some drama, air quotes, that kicked off over the last few days. If you guys don't know, there is, Insecure ran for 5 or 6 seasons. I'm not sure. I'm not remembering, on HBO. Fantastic show. If you haven't watched it, watch it. If you have, watch it again. Issa Rae and Prentice Prinny, who was the showrunner. Issa Rae is the creator and one of the producers, executive producers. They now have a podcast where they talk about the show, different episodes. They like recap, they interview people who were behind the scenes on the show, cast, all this other stuff. It's just overall good time and a good way to kind of go down memory lane in celebration of the show. Well, they announced that they will be going on a tour, like a celebration anniversary tour for Insecure, that is featuring again Prentice Penny, Issa Rae, Natasha Rossfield. I forget her last name, but the girl who played Kelly, and Yvonne Orji who played Molly, and then Jay Ellis, who plays Lawrence. They're gonna be having a kiki good time. They announced tour dates. We don't know if all of them gonna be at every stop or they're gonna be some of them. We just don't know. We don't know nothing. We just know they're going on a tour. Well, Amanda Seals posted a video, like one of those. There's a trend going around where they act like they're doing a Netflix documentary, and it insinuated or talked something about how the cast is going on the tour and did not include her character, which she played Tiffany. And that kind of blew the door open. People were like, well, what's this? And do you want to go? And I thought you didn't like the cast and y'all got beef and y'all got drama and all this other stuff. And this is toxic environment. And why you doing this? And yes, she should go. They should have invited her. It don't matter what will happen behind the scenes. This is it. All blah, 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 blah. And this is just a good reminder that, and how do I want to say this? This industry is very small, right? And it can be very, very catty, very petty, but it can also be very straightforward and very common sensed leaning. And I'm speaking to more so the people commenting, the people in the comment section. Stop expecting people to handle things the way that you would, having not put no money up for said event, said tour, or said thing, right? If the people who put the money up for the tour didn't want to invite somebody, they ain't want to invite somebody. The same way, if you work at a company and y'all got to go on a work trip to San Francisco and it is not a mandatory trip for everybody don't got to go, and somebody don't get to go, guess what, baby? You don't get to go on the work trip. Okay? That's an oversimplified statement. However, we do not know what conversations have been had. We do not know these people. We don't know if there's some sponsorships, because y'all got to remember too, when tours and things are put together, there is sometimes sponsorships tied in order to pay for said event. Sometimes, again, those sponsorships can be affected by the people going, that the messaging associated with those people and their overall brand. I don't know if that's the case here, but I'm throwing this out there for people, things for people to consider. And two, sometimes you just don't want to go with certain people. Like, guys, like, everybody don't got to go. Also, want to remind people, we don't know what the tour gonna look like. If everybody gonna be at each show, if it's gonna be one or two, we just don't know the setup. So I want to say that to people who chiming in about it. Like, you should get to go and she should invite you and she shouldn't invite. Like, y'all, hush. When you get put your tour together, you can say who should and shouldn't be invited. When you go on a podcast tour celebrating the anniversary of your hit TV show, then you can say who should and shouldn't go. But one other thing, if somebody posted on social media, they were like, what are they even going to talk about? Why are they even doing a tour? That's unnecessary. Y'all, you could do so much with a live show and a live tour. Yeah, they've talked about Insecure and they've had the wind down and recaps and done all of this stuff. But a live tour is a immersive environment. The opportunities are endless. They can literally start the tour with a one-on-one or panel discussion with the attendees. They can have a segment with audience questions. They can play an Insecure themed game with audience members. You can call 2 audience members up on stage and they can do Insecure trivia hosted by Issa Rae and Prentice Penny. They can have somebody from the audience in teams with one of the cast, somebody with Jay Ellis and somebody with Natasha or Yvonne, and they can do Insecure themed like charades or something. They can have a special celebrity guest for each stop on the tour. Do something fun, they don't be producing, y'all. Y'all don't be thinking about no production, y'all. You don't know what y'all. Hey, y'all better go. They ain't ready. The opportunities are endless. They can have Raphael. I know Raphael Sadiq was the music supervisor one time. They can have Raphael Sadiq up in there. They can find Solange and get her on one of these. They ain't ready. Y'all ain't really ready. Y'all ain't really trying to produce this. And I'm not talking about Issa and them. I'm talking about y'all, the commenters. Okay, that person who was like, "What are they even gonna talk about?" So I just want to bring that up because it's been a big topic of discussion. Let me know though. Do y'all even care? Because personally, I don't really care. I'm just mentioning it because everybody was chit chatting about it. But let me know. Let me know what you think. You can find me at Cornelia on social media. On this week's episode of Black News, we talked about a conversation that has resurfaced around election rigging and what is going to happen with this upcoming 2026 November race nationally and locally. We also gave another update on the case involving the unaliving of Nolan Wells. We recapped where we are so far and what is to come and what we're expecting this week, including results from the independent autopsy. And we also talked about some quick, insecure discourse that has been happening over social media. Hit me up. Let me know your thoughts about all of these topics, some or none, and I'll check back with you guys next time. That's it for this week's episode of Black News, y'all. Thanks again for supporting the podcast by sharing, liking, subscribing, and rating 5 stars on your favorite podcast app. To find more information about me, you can check me out at Cornelia on social media, as well as on my website, which is cornelia.com. And as always, thanks for supporting, and I'll be back next week with new topics and a new episode.